Hi. This is take 3 of me trying to share my testimony, and I do not know how to be quick, and I do not want this to be long-winded. I don't want it to be too much to listen to, so I'm going to try my best to share my testimony with you guys. The reason I feel so called to share it is, number one, Jesus has truly saved me, and I do not know, nor do I want to know where I would be without him. And in light and because of everything terrible that has gone on here recently, I know there's always terrible things, but something is happening. There is a revival after Charlie Kirk's assassination, and I feel called to be a part of it and to be loud and proud in my faith. And it's wild to me because this is not who I was even a year ago. It has been a slow progression, but I am so different and my heart is different. I'm just so different. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that. In fact, many of you have told me that you've been praying for me for years now. And I can't help but think and know and believe in my heart that that is one major reason as to why I was able to find Jesus. So my testimony, I want to go back to who I was before. I was sad, angry, very, very low self-worth, and I struggled with that. And it had me turn to boys and alcohol and other substances to fill this void within myself. Food being a huge one. Food and alcohol being the worst. I was extremely self-destructive, and God truly saved my life so many times. There were so many times that I should have not made it, or that I should have gone to jail. Like, it is insane looking back. And I always knew I wanted to be someone. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't go to church much growing up. I did, but like, it wasn't a discussion in my house. It was like we would go with friends or family, and it wasn't like a thing that was discussed. And I would pray like when I was desperate, I was one of those people. I never understood really who Jesus was. I would mock Christians. I would think I didn't want to be like them. I thought they were weird. And I'll never forget my very first encounter with God answering a prayer. And that is when I was 21 years old and I was in a very dark place. And I asked God to please give me a reason to get my life together. That's pretty much what I said. And a week later, I found out I was pregnant at 21 years old with a man I barely even knew. And there was this peace in my heart. No idea what I was going to do, how we were going to do it. I didn't really know Jonathan at all, yet we were going to have a baby, but there was this peace. And I'd like to say that it was all history and I found Jesus and I was saved and everything's been great ever since, but that's not the case. I suffered for many, many more years trying to find the answers and trying to figure out how to be happy through everything besides Jesus. New age, drugs, alcohol, trainings, books, like everything that was not Jesus I looked for, because there was this stigma about religion, and Jonathan had religious trauma, and like we both didn't like religion and churches, and we don't have to have this like we can believe in God, all this nonsense, right? Up until like we did improve our lives significantly through learning about like traumas and forgiveness and all of this. And we started getting a lot better, but we kept trying to like manifest something and it just was not happening. So much so that we left Houston. We lived there for 8 years and we went to Wisconsin. And then I thought that we had this calling to move to Florida and start this retreat center, all with new age things. And God made it very clear that that was not what he wanted for us. He tried to stop us from even going. We still went, we forced it. And I was not talking to him at this point. There was no relationship. But looking back, Florida chewed us up and spit us out. We ended up back in Texas. We had to stay with family. And that was the lowest, most shameful point in my life because we were stripped from everything. We didn't have any of our stuff besides what was in a suitcase. We didn't have a car. Our car didn't make it to Florida. And we were having to stay with family. And I was down on my knees. And I had nothing else to do but pray. Me and Jonathan watched The Passion of the Christ together. And he listened to an interview with Joe Rogan and Wesley Huff. And I started reading my Bible. And everything changed. This is longer than I wanted it to be, so I'm going to try to close it up. But so many of you have reached out and said that you were praying for me to find Jesus because I had a very foul mouth and I was very quick to judgment and anger in my content. And the enemy has tried to stop me on this app so many times. And he has not won because I can't deny that there's some sort of calling on my life. Because like I said, he has saved me so many times. He has spared my life, and same with Jonathan. So I just had to share this. Like, I will never be the one to shove Jesus down anyone's throats or anything. I just wanted to share my testimony and just share it. Just share it and be bold in my faith. And I know I tried literally every other way: New Age, manifestation, Abraham Hicks, higher self, spirit guides, crystals, tarot cards, astrology. I tried all of it, and it led me down a dead end, and it led me down to nothing. I was stripped of my pride, of my money, of my everything. And we had to start over, and we started over with Jesus as our leader and our guide and our everything. And I truly believe in him and in his life and in his death and in his resurrection, and that he is the way. So I think that's all. Thank you guys for listening. This was like 3 times as long as I wanted it to be, but I do plan to write a book one day. I have so much to share and say, and yeah, I also want to start a podcast, but we'll see. I love you guys, and I hope this helps someone today. God bless you, and I love you.